tonight on LFG.
All the damn work I put in with you.
Blue Fisto.
What can you do with this person who's new so they look good, you look good, and everybody's safe?
Might as well put him in a black leather jacket and a black hat.
Jeff Lippman.
It looked like she was too slow for school, but she came out playing the hot mean girl.
That looked really good.
Welcome to this episode of LFG with Sink or Swim. So they had to go in the ring and actually have to come up with their own matches. The coaches could not help in any way, apparently. And they also had to figure out who was going to win, which wrestlers basically never have to do. Why this time? I have no idea. Anything from the start, my dear Jeff?
I agree 100% with you. I mean, they recapped the fight, whether it was real or not, between Drake Moreau and Elijah Holyfield. And then they said, can the legends retake control? And next thing we see is Shawn asking if tensions are cool and saying, oh, good. Well, they're going to have to, because this week the legends are standing back and the contestants are going to basically book, agent, and produce the matches. And hey, folks, in this business, you can't be selfish, but you have to be selfish sometimes, but not too selfish and not selfish all the time. Hey, peace out. You guys work it out. So, I mean, it was like the opening scene was, I was actually laughing a little bit because I found it comedic that like, can the legends retake control? And then they're like, hey, the legends aren't doing anything this week. Peace out.
It was funny because indeed, it is a selfish business where you have to work together. And I love the fact that Shawn kind of said, are we good? We need to be, because the first thing that came to mind was like, oh yeah, Bret Hart. So, but it's something that happens in wrestling all the time where you have to work with people you don't like. And in the indies, though, I would say like you have more freedom to say like, I'm not comfortable with this person because you're your own boss. But at a certain level, WWE level, when they say you're working with this person, you have to. But you're not going to come up with your own finish. The matches will be produced by an agent. So it was kind of cool that they had to work on it by themselves. So, it shows them a little bit of the struggle that people go through when they're on the indies, which they won't have to because basically they're already in the system. So, but you have to learn how to be a ring general, and you have to be able to, if something happens in the ring, you have to take control and tell your opponents that's where we're at. And because as we can see, usually in wrestling, there's a lot of, people will improvise a lot, but I feel WWE with the agents, and there's something we've seen at Unreal. The producer actually knows the moves that are coming. So it's really produced and overproduced. So at least with Unreal 2, now we can kind of know how they work watching LFG. But yeah, this time was, they have to figure out who wins and there's tensions. And actually, I was kind of bummed out that the last week, we end again on a cliffhanger, and it's like, it ends like the coach took care of it. It's all good. It's like, okay, that's all. And by the way, where is Tatyanna? You sent me a picture this week, Jeff. She was in the ring. She's wrestling. She's still there. But it's been 4 episodes? We have no clue. She was hurt. Something happened, and no mention of her. Zena, no mention of what happened with her.
4 or 5 weeks in a row, but apparently she was well enough to wrestle. She did a run and attack, so I guess she's a heel. On one of the NXT, live tour, I guess it was the Grapefruit, trail shows that they do, was sort of the NXT B or C squad, which is fine. That's good. But, you're right. We haven't seen her. And you would think that they would have edited something in to explain what's going on, just because they would assume that would get out. But no, they just don't care. I have a question for you though, Lufisto, and that is, obviously if the fight was more work than shoot, then it doesn't matter. But on we'll play along and say that the fight was real, that the tensions really were high. Is this too soon to do this in any sort of responsible wrestling school scenario? Or do they get a pass because it's TV and they're supposed to be manufactured drama? Or is it still, it's too important to don't fool around with stuff like this?
It's real. I just think because it's TV reality, they want to show this aspect. But for sure, I mean, when you're thinking about it, it's like the school, preschool. If NXT is like the school of WWE, that's like kindergarten. So I don't know. I get why they would do something like this, just TV wise. Like, you want to see what happens, you want to tune in. I guess it gives the contestants, or we could call them students, actually. It gives them an idea of everything that can happen. And, you know, a lot of feuds start this way. Like, even if we're talking about a work, a lot of feud can start this way. So, I mean, it's something they're working on. So yeah, that's about it.
Listen, so right away we first uncovered their first little white lie, because basically Shawn said, okay, you're gonna book your own matches, and then we see the coaches booking the matches, deciding who's going to face who. Which I'm like, what? I mean, am I not watching this show? Am I an idiot? But no, that's Shawn said you're going to put together the matches and do everything. The coaches are going, and sure enough, the next scene is the coaches deciding who's going to face who, and even making deals. Like Michelle is telling Taker, "Oh, I'll give you Trill for Shiloh," and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know if that struck you as being particularly weird or not, but I don't know. Sometimes I think that they don't put a lot of thought into the dialogue or the anatomy of the show.
It's probably, yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, can I ask you guys a question? Do you think that this show would be more successful or more interesting to you, especially Lou as a trainer and somebody that's seen both sides of in the ring and outside of the ring performatively, and to you as well, Jeff? Would it be more interesting if they just kind of got rid of the storyline aspect of it and the little things that Bubba does and Michelle and Taker's back and forth as husband and wife and Booker T's inference here and there? Like, would the show be better or taken more seriously if they got rid of that contestant? Because you called them contestants. And I was like, she's right. They feel sometimes like this is part of a giant game show rather than it's us watching people train for their careers for the rest of their lives.
I think it would be more interesting if they would focus on the people that want to become WWE superstars. Like, what are they going through when they go home? What are they thinking about? The way they nurse their bruises, and if they get injured, like, how am I going to go to the school tomorrow and train like this? And I'd like to see them think about their moves and try to figure out what their characters are. I would like to see them talk to their teachers about, like, how to, get better. And it's all the things we don't see that I believe would be worth, like, TV. Like, you want to know more about the characters. Like, yeah. I mean the characters, the person behind, like, what are they going through? How hard it is to become a professional wrestler? What are the struggles you go to? Because when you're a wrestler, it's a way of life. You change everything that you do. You start training, the way you eat. You have to watch matches. You got to study. You got to figure out, like, what's your character, what you're going to wear, your entrance. There's so much work behind, becoming a professional wrestler. And that's interesting. We don't see that.
Do you think that there's a motive behind the WWE machine that doesn't highlight those things for TV? Or do you think it's just they feel like the entertainment portion of the show holds up more so than actually seeing what these kids are going through?
Well, here's the thing. It's not really entertaining to see them having a match. If I want to watch matches, I have NXT, I have Raw, I have SmackDown, I have, like, all the pay-per-views, the Sunday night. Like, they have so many, like, wrestling shows. And now, like, a few weeks ago, I would have said, like, oh, they don't want to break, the magic or kayfabe too much. But now that Unreal is out, there's no reason why you don't get to, like, why was Total Divas so popular, and even, like, Total Bellas? It's because you saw the wrestlers as something else, what they were doing on their free time, what they were thinking, what they were going through as humans. And that's interesting. That's why, like, shows like the Kardashians, you're like, why the fuck is this popular? Well, people want to know how they live as rich people, whatever. And people who love wrestling want to know how it is to be a wrestler. And if I want to be a wrestler, what do I have to go through? I can watch this and learn and kind of know if it's for me. Now it's just like we see a little bit of them and then they cut a promo and then we see them doing the match. And I mean, the match is probably edited, and I don't know if they start some sequence again because they fuck up. We have no idea. But how do they get to the match is just not there. We see them talking, but there's someone talking over it, explaining or whatever. It's that's what's missing. Like I honestly
feel it's all in the execution,
Mm-hmm.
and you can pick one lane or the other. And I think that they're trying to do some sort of compromise, which isn't working in either degree. The old Tough Enough on MTV really focused on the people. It was almost like The Real World or Survivor. They just happened to be competing for wrestling. I think the competitions, the particular themes added to that. This show seems to be only for wrestling fans. So even when there's drama, they sort of like, I remember reading the Stephen King's The Stand, and there were parts, the suspense was great and was good. It seemed like there was going to be a scary part, and then the scene ended. I'm like, what? This is what I feel like with this show. It's like there's drama and cliffhangers, and then it just ends. They just drop it. There's nothing more. Like, if you want episodic TV, focus on the drama. Don't let us forget about Tatyanna. Hype up this fight and let's see everyone cool down. Let's see them have a sit down and everyone go, it's cool, and hug it out. I mean, let's get to know the people a little bit more. I think because I think a real wrestling fan who's are the only people watching this show, hardcore wrestling fans, hardcore WWE fans, they already know it's bullshit, because they already know that out of the 12 contestants, 10 of them are going to be on WWE TV, if not all 12 of them, at least on Evolve, probably on NXT, and some of them you already know are going to be. So it's not even really a competition. The whole thing is bullshit. At least with Survivor, one person got $1 million, and then, you figure 5 or 6 years later, there'd be Celebrity Survivor or Villain Survivor or whatever, or if your favorite Survivor. But it's bullshit. So it's like they haven't picked a lane, and so this sort of half-ass stuff isn't really working for a casual person, and it's not really working for a hardcore person. I mean, like Lufisto said, the matches aren't that good. I mean, to me, it's fine because I'm looking to see the development. And that's like what I enjoy in wrestling right at this moment. But why would she? I mean, that's what she does for a living. I mean, she has a school. She doesn't need to see that on TV. So I see a little of it, but there was some drama, this week, and I'm sure we'll get to it. And I'm sure it's just barely going to be mentioned next week.
White chocolate in the chat, just like right on it. It should be more like The Ultimate Fighter. You cheer for the unknowns. You discover the people behind the fighters. That's how I believe it should be. Like, we already know the coaches. We know what they've done. We know their credentials. I want to know more, like Arlen Lewis. Who is he? Where does he come from? Why is he a wrestler? And why is it so important to him to be so intense and make it? Like, these are things I want to know.
And how you go from Cora Jade to Thea Hale.
Oh, well, so yeah, it was fun seeing Taker hide to watch his student, though. I thought that was really funny. He went up and down like a little, I was going to say a chipmunks, but it would be more of a, I don't even remember the name of the little animal that goes up and down in a hole, but anyway, it looked like that. So it was.
They all go up and down in a hole periodically. Okay, I'll be listening.
So the first match was Anthony Luke versus Arlen Lewis, and I'm sure, Jeff, I was thrilled to see Harlem wearing red and shorts and not the barbed wire gear that everybody gets from high spots. And I was like, finally, it looks like something.
I want to know from you, did you think that their tension, in air quotes, was real or bullshit? Because it seemed like they were just trying to pretend that there was some other fight, like all the Anthony, Luke, and Harlem stuff as they were trying to agent their match, and Michelle McCool had to step inside. Did any of that feel real at all to you? Was it real? That I can't say, but is it something that I've seen in locker rooms? Oh, hell yeah. One guy wants to put his move and the other guy wants to tell another story, and they argue, and I'm not going to take that. I'm too big. I'm not going to take that. I'm too small, or whatever. This doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. It's discussions you're going to hear in a bunch of locker rooms. And if that's why agents are so important, but there's not many indie promotions that do have agents, and it's really something that's missing, because that's the job of the agents, going like, here's the story we need to tell. This makes sense. This doesn't make sense because you have more experience. You're faster. You're stronger. You're bigger. Like, for any kind of reasons why the match should be built a certain way. So, was it staged? That we'll never know. But is it something that happens? Absolutely. So, that didn't bother me, because it showed a part of wrestling that do exist. So yeah, I was okay with that. All right. So this match, I mean, there was a lot of jaw jacking between these two guys, and it looked like they were not going to be on the same page. I'm sure your criticism is the same as mine. When they came in, it was not clear who was the face or who was the heel. And during the match, it was never clear who was the face or who was the heel. But in the match, they started jaw jacking, which played up on the confrontation earlier, which I thought was really well done. That was good. And then, Bubba Ray, his phrase of the night was live rounds. He said it a few times, but he called it live rounds. This match was physical. It was really good. And Harlem Lewis kept selling a leg injury from a chop block, which was interesting because that's sort of how he left Evolve, where they protected him in the loss to Keanu Carver, the other Haas who is social mediaing himself out of a job right now, which is a shame because he might be awesome. But anyway, Bubba at some point says, we are now a season and a half into this, and I don't think it's any judges or any coach's fault, because he didn't want to get up Booker's ire or Taker or Michelle's. He said, I still don't know who Anthony Luke is. And I don't know who Anthony Luke is. I know Anthony Luke thinks he's great. I know Anthony Luke thinks he's been carrying all of his opponents, and he's the blue chipper and the alpha guy there. He thinks he's the Miz or whatever. Everyone compares him to The Rock or Maven or whatever. He just seems okay to me. But I did like, at the end, Harlem Lewis won the match by grabbing the ropes and cheating. So that took me by surprise. I guess that makes him the heel. I think the coaches said, I guess that makes him the heel at the same time as me. So it was a good match. I was impressed with the execution. I'm not sure I see everything in Anthony Luke that they do over and above the other people. I thought these guys did a really good job in the ring.
Yeah, I really love this match. For Anthony, he has a good entrance. Like, you see his confidence, but I think he needs more of a character. Like, he's from a football background. You see him doing kind of the quick step once he goes up. He still wears his gloves. But I was wondering, does he need like a team jacket, some football gear, something that makes him like, hey, this guy was a beast on the field and he was too violent for football, so now he's a wrestler. I don't know. Something that goes around those lines where it tells a story of who he is. Right now, he's like kind of in the middle, the football guy and the wrestler. So, but he needs to push like either or find something where he's more comfortable, because I think he's a very good worker. I see him lead a lot of matches. The match was great because they had like great strong lockups. The tackles were solid. It was showing competition between two guys who wanted to prove something. Same thing as you. I was wondering who's the heel, who's the face, but because of the way they were wrestling, Luke to me, was the heel. He had the more eelish attitude. He attacked the knee, very like kind of from behind. He would grab a headlock, pull with the hair. So, and he put the heat on Lewis, and Lewis kept on selling, great selling, by the way. The legwork was great, and Lewis was fighting back. As a babyface, I always say, fight back, never die. But that's what he kept doing. Tried to push Luke away, try to slap him or something. He was never dead, always trying to get out of these holds. So to me, that screamed babyface. So the way they were wrestling, Luke was the heel, Lewis was the face. There was a nice hope spot with some pins and a good cutoff as also. And when the finish came, same thing. I was like, okay, so you used the ropes, but Luke was so mean at targeting the leg that it kind of gave Harlem a little okay to cheat because, hey, you've been working on my leg so much, you were trying to, pull it away from my body or something. So like I had enough. And because of the competition between them that they were portraying, it kind of made sense that we kind of ate each other it's like a alpha male kind of fight. So he was going to do anything to win, and he did. There was an awesome backdrop in there. This is a move we don't see enough. It looked great. I love that Harlem used the post for the comeback, and even in his comeback, he kept selling the leg. The finish, the powerbomb into a sunset, that looked good too with the rope. And Luke had a great promo after this match. So overall, I really like the intensity of that fight.
Yeah, no, I agree with almost everything you said entirely. I disagree a little bit on that. He needs to get more comfortable. I think he's almost too comfortable. I think he knows he's getting a job no matter what. I think he might already have one. And so he's a little complacent in certain areas, but it doesn't show in his in-ring work. It's more like the character and the little things. But moving on. So next match is Shiloh Hill versus Trill London. Again, this is Taker versus Michelle McCool, which I mention again because it's going to come up later. Shiloh comes in sort of similar to Anthony Luke. You can't really tell if he's a heel or face, but it seems like he's probably more heely. He does the same football high stepping, fast hop up the ring, the steps, his normal thing where, he's either an intense face or he could be a heel. And then Trill comes in. He's still doing the crawly thing. He did not have the scary mask on. He did not have the weird vests on. So a little less heely. He got up and became more facey. And it was the strangest thing because, oh my God, Bubba Ray was so right. He goes, right from the entrance, he goes, Trill wants to be Jeff Hardy. And everything he did when he did something was Jeff Hardy. And they even showed clips of Jeff Hardy, and it was move for move. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, if you want to copy somebody and you're sort of that build, Jeff Hardy's a pretty good model for somehow durability. But the funniest thing I saw recently, there's been this poll circulating around all social media. It's like, who is a white person that black people universally like or love? And like 25 years ago, this probably would have been Bill Clinton. I have no idea in the interim, but the answer everywhere was Jeff Hardy. So, I mean, it just struck me as Trill. For those of you who don't know, Trill London, former DB in the NFL, is a black guy. And that was just funny. So Shiloh confirmed that he's a heel because he attacked from before the bell, and Shiloh was methodically manhandling Trill London. Bubba at some point said, that's an interesting way to put yourself in the tree of woe. Basically, Trill put himself in the tree of woe, and so Bubba was sort of mocking that a little bit, or maybe a lot. He sort of had it with, he's like he even punches like Jeff Hardy, and then the guy, his finisher was the Swanton. But Shiloh controlled this match for like 75% of it, and Trill had a couple of hope spots, but in the end, he hit a couple of moves and then the Swanton for a win. And Trill was very proud of his win, as I guess he should be, I guess. But I couldn't unsee what Bubba said. I'm just a little bit torn, as you can hear, as to whether it's really a negative or not.
I've been trying, every time I was looking at Trill, I was like, he reminds me of somebody. It reminds me of someone, and I couldn't pinpoint who it was. And then he goes Jeff Hardy. I was like, oh my God, I saw the light. That is it. I was like, it's exactly the same. The pants and everything. He even kind of jiggles the same way.
Right, even the dance is a little bit the same.
But he's a great baby face, man. I really like that they did a hot start where, if we didn't know from his entrance, now we knew like 100% that Shiloh was the heel. He attacked him right away. And Trill was like, showed good babyface fire as Shiloh was like dirty, rough, and he slowed down the pace of the match because Trill's really fast. So indeed, like when he was in control, Shiloh would like slow down everything, take his time, which is, my God, the way, you got to work as a heel. The trio overall, I got a little scared because I was like, you have to hook yourself properly. Because even if you're hooked properly, the fall from a trio row is never cool. Like it's always a little bit rough. So that was kind of scary because like I saw his head going like kind of sideways. I was like, yeah, I guess he's fine. And Shiloh did that front flip senton, and Taker was like, "What the fuck? I didn't show him that." It was like true, but it was pretty impressive, and it was put in a way where he was not looking like a babyface. Like he kept pounding on Trill, and then this move out of nowhere, and then went back to slow down the pace with a hold. So that was a good way to use like something kind of flashy for a heel. He had like some very creative corner stuff. Like I really like what he was doing. The bump and feed, they actually went into a hope spot, into the bump and feed to the comeback, which was really good because right from there, lots of babyface fire. And that's like a little detail, but there was a very nice 3/4 kick out. I think these are always awesome if they're done right, especially since Trill is smaller than Shiloh. Like you think it's the end, but 1, 2, and barely kicks out a nice kick out where he turns his body completely. So yeah, that was a good match. The senton looks good. And I mean, it's kind of cool that like it was kind of his dream to do the senton like Jeff Hardy because it was his favorite. So that's a backstory actually that's cool to know. He's a wrestler because he, looked up to Jeff Hardy. That's something relevant from the person behind the
Brian LFG that you already know what the dream match is, or he's the partner, or both. So there's my, yeah. I mean, and the thing about Trill is even though he's small, he's so athletic and he's so explosive and he's so talented that you can actually believe that it only is going to take 3 or 4 moves for him to win a match. And that's in fact what happened. And credit to Shiloh for being unselfish in this case. And to Anthony Luke as well in the other match. So, the guys were definitely showing that they knew what the assignment was anyway. So that was good.
Can I ask you guys this real quick before you get away from Trill and Shiloh?
Sure.
How important, or do you think that there's any importance to the fact that obviously, Trill is bringing up that Jeff Hardy was a hero of his. It was part of his dream to do the Swanton and such. But do you think that's important in the long run for these characters being built up in WWE? Or do you think that in a way that maybe creative doesn't pay attention to that side of things and they just kind of brush it under the rug?
I mean, they'll always mention that like, oh, it was their dreams to be superstar. And I've said it before, like on Wrestling Soup, like this is the thing that I don't want to hear anymore. Because if you're there, obviously it's probably because it was your dream or, it's something you thought about or whatever. But to know who inspired you and why it became your dream, that's something I think it's relevant to know. I'd like to know where you're coming from. And, now I know that Trill was watching TV. He saw Jeff Hardy and said like, I would like to be like him. So it gives me
excuse me to both of you, but our truth is still talking about his childhood hero, John Cena. I mean, that is the story right now. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So really, come on now. I think it depends on the circumstances. I mean, I have heard, and I've probably said it on this show because I know I've said it to Lufisto and she's, sort of echoed it, is that if I hear another person saying, that they love Eddie Guerrero and do the shake, I've already heard it 10 times too many from 10 different people. It's like, shut up already. Someone already took your line. But this felt more natural. And even if it's irritating, or even if we don't want to see it on WWE wrestling show TV, it's perfectly fine for LFG. In fact, encouraged. And I think it would even be cool on Evolve, and especially in NXT right now because of the TNA, more NXT relationship. So I think that could actually happen. Like, Trill could get beat up by Dark State or something, and he doesn't have any friends. And then all of a sudden goes, "Oh, you've got a friend. We've been watching you," and the Hardys come out, and the place would go crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I'm okay with it because it feels very, very real here. So I guess that's the difference for me. I reserve the right to be a hypocrite.
Jeff, do you think that they should focus, especially with these younger kids, do you think that focusing a little bit more, as opposed to, once again, the entertainment portion of the show, but focusing on what drove them for WWE to be their dream is important? Because it almost feels like they kind of brush over that. Like, obviously Trill is a good point, but he's been here for a while. He's been on Evolve, and now we're just really discovering his love of Jeff Hardy. And I know it's still early in his career, but you would think that those would be some of the first things that they would bring out. It's like, oh, who was Bayley's big inspiration? Well, she loved Brock Lesnar, and now she wants, things like that would probably endear them to the audience and at least bring people's mindset into what type of wrestler they want to be.
300%. And that's really, it's the same conversation, just a slightly different context from earlier in the show as to what is missing in this show. And the original Tough Enough, MTV produced it, and they knew how to make reality TV that appealed to people, appealed to the soap opera audience and to the youth audience. Like the 90210 Melrose Place demographic also watched Tough Enough. The Surreal World and the Real World people watched Tough Enough because it was about wrestling. It didn't matter. It was the characters. It was the people. And yes, this is a complaint of mine. It's only for wrestling fans. So it's fine for me, but it's, like I said, it's not that enjoyable, but I'd watch it anyway. But if they were expecting this to get to, the ratings on A&E, if you get 400,000, you're a top 15 cable network. So, but if they wanted to get to 300,000 or 400,000 people, they need people to fall in love with the characters, which is easy to do. They're young, they're good looking, they're fit, they're doing something interesting. There's people there on the screen like The Undertaker who have some built-in mystique to them. The girls are nice looking. It ain't that difficult. Even if they made it a longer show, or like if they made it an hour show and there was more of the background, getting to know the people, seeing them back at home or seeing them when they're training or whatever, regular training as opposed to wrestling training, I think that we'd be more invested in them. Now WWE, I think they're a little bit lazy. They rely a little bit on social media and Twitter and people doing Instagram and TikTok videos and all that. And I guess that's easy, but I don't know, for a company that's so well resourced and knows how to do episodic TV so well, they sort of feel complacent at the same time as being ultra greedy. So I guess we can move on to the next match. So we have Bayley versus Sirena, who they are best friends in real life. They talked about it last year, how they were developing a close friendship, and this has continued into this season. Of course, keep in mind that these seasons are probably, both seasons were probably filmed over a 2-month period total. In any event, Bayley comes out a little bit flat. They're definitely trying to make her up and then pretty her up some, which I'm not sure if that's really worthwhile. I would rather, I think I would go the Max the Impaler route or the Abaddon route more, or, to make her scarier, because she's just so goddamn big and physically imposing and such a unique build. And there was some discussion where Taker and Booker, or I think it was Bub, actually said, I thought you told her to come out like Brock Lesnar. And he's like, I did. I guess she didn't understand what I meant. Sirena came out with a lot of personality. That's definitely something that's different about her this season from last. And then Bayley does the Brock toes in the corner. And he's like, okay, well, there it is. Now she did it. A little late, but okay. Guess you didn't understand. Undertaker is happy to hear the crowd chanting Joe is going to kill you, except Bayley's going to kill you, which I love every single time. They tried to tell a story. Serena's, yelling at her from outside the ring. I thought we were friends. So that's good, play into that a little bit. This match was very short because Bayley did a gorilla press, which I guess was going to be some sort of gorilla press slam or drop. But at some point, I don't know when, she sort of dropped Sirena onto her shoulders, almost like she was going to do a torture rack or something. But it became pretty clear almost immediately that that was not a planned move. And then she tried to put her down, and then I think she tried to recover to do another move. But as strong as Bayley is, she sort of fell into the ropes with Sirena sort of draped over her in like almost a torture rack fireman's carry kind of thing. And she put her down gently. The ref stopped the match, and we hear the voiceover. I heard something in her voice, and I knew I had to stop the match. I'm not sure what happened. She looked concussed. She left the ring under her own power. Of course, we have no idea how much time it took, and it wasn't entirely under her own power. I mean, there were people holding her and guiding her, including Bayley some of the time, but they replaced Bayley with WWE staff, including refs, but the medic looked a little scared. I'm not sure if the grip on the power slam was a choke and she actually choked her out by accident, or she accidentally hit the Vulcan nerve pinch, or something else. We don't know, but Sirena herself said, I blacked out. And this is where I typed, Lou, what happened? Did she grip her neck too tightly, or do you have any idea? So, Lou, what happened there?
There's a few things that might have happened when she had her into a press slam. When she kind of let go to catch her, I think, or maybe her head might have hit her Bayley's shoulder. So maybe that's where. The other part is she kind of fell to the floor after this part. So I was like, I guess she hit her head on her opponent's shoulder, because I didn't see anything else where it could have been. It felt to me like she was already out. But the thing is, like, she said she blacked out. So I was like, is it a hit to the head, or did not have enough food in her body, so she blacked out because she didn't have enough energy? It sounds stupid, but did she take something before, like, what's it called? The freaking, like, her pre-workout kind of thing? And sometimes they're too strong and they'll get your heart pump like way too fast, and then you black out. There's so many reasons, because when she said blacked out, I was like, so she didn't hit her head, or did she? It was a little bit confusing to me, but if she did in fact hit her head, I think it's from the press slam when she dropped in, what's her name, in Bayley's hand.
See, I think, and listen, you're the expert for sure, but I think that it happened at some point before, either from the press slam or even before, and it just manifested. Because it seemed like when Bayley was trying to put her down, throw her down, she sort of dropped like a sack of potatoes. And while Bayley is strong, you're not actually strong enough to lift a person over your head and down when they're not cooperative, when they're dead weight. I mean, that's just not the way physics work. So I mean, of course I could be wrong. Will we ever find out? If past evidence from this show, we're going to
probably not.
We will not.
When something like this happens with your younger talents, like, I mean, obviously, initially it's probably medical. Everybody goes in there, you know, to make sure that whoever's injured is okay and gets the medical attention that they need. But how do you deal with the fallout from that? How do you deal with the mental state of the person that just got hurt? And how do you deal with the mental state of the person who just thought they might have hurt somebody for real? What do you do in that scenario as a trainer?
Well, one thing you do is you make sure that there's no break for the neck. You try to go and see what's up with the person. Try to push away the opponent, because you want the other person to breathe. You don't want the other one to kind of have a nervous breakdown. So you actually need at least two people, one on the injured person, one on the wrestler that did the move, because it's really like when you hurt someone, it's like the way you feel is like almost like the end of the world. Like, because you never know if it's injuries can be like little things, or it could be a little, there's not a little concussion, but it could be a concussion that you wait a little bit and you're back in action.
Right.
And there's like injuries where it might be the end, or someone who's going to get out. Like, let's say something happens and you pull too hard and the ACL snaps or whatever. That's like a year of this person that's out. You know, that's going to happen for sure. I mean, And I love what Eddie just mentioned, because the first name that came to mind is D'Lo, and I'm actually friends with him, and it's maybe something I'll ask one day. I never dared to ask him, but how he felt when, it happened with Draws, and he ended his career, and he was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life and died pretty young because of all the repercussion of this stupid move that he used to do all the time, and nothing happened. So it comes also to, why did it happen? Was it just an accident? Was it something you were doing all the time, and this time for some reason didn't work out? Something went awry, whatever? Or is it something that as a coach or whatever, I told you, do not do this, or I see you practicing and it doesn't look safe and it doesn't look good, and or your opponent says no, you do it anyway. The reason why the injury happens is, has a lot to do with how the person is going to be talked to or how the person's going to react. Like in Bayley's case, she did nothing wrong. Like, it's something they practiced. It's something they were both comfortable with. Nothing was very dangerous, and it wasn't a triple flip Spanish fly where every time I see a Spanish fly, I hold my breath because they're so close to the freaking mat, and I was like, ugh. But, it's unfortunately, it is part of being a wrestler. We don't want to get injured. We'll do everything so it doesn't happen. But if you're a dick and you do what you want and you don't care about the safety of your opponent, you want to do your spots and lay your spots in the match and be the star. Well, I might have a different, reaction towards you and say you're a fucking asshole and that's your fault.
Right.
But if you did everything right and it's just you didn't catch the person right or whatever, it's an accident and it happens. And that's where you sit down with a person and you have to talk to them and let them know that, this was not on purpose. It's part of it. Unfortunately, it does happen.
Do you think that this hurts Bayley down the road? I know it's still a game show at this point in a lot of ways, but do you think that this genuinely is even if they don't say it on TV, but in the real world behind the scenes with Shawn and Booker and everybody, do you think they kind of look at her and go, okay, well, she has a lot of work to do still? One of those things, they'll never just straight up say, oh, well, you're trash, get the fuck out, because WWE doesn't work that way. And obviously it's still a teaching process of what they're going through. But is this something
we need to figure out what happened first? If Sirena just took a clothesline and bumped the wrong way and landed on her head and, caused a concussion with a delayed reaction to herself.
We're only seeing this from the edited footage. I would assume that them being there probably know exactly what happened. No?
They probably watched that tape.
The only indication was at judge's table, and Undertaker said to Bayley, goes, you did nothing wrong. You cannot blame yourself about this. Booker said it's part of the game. All of the judges agreed, and they said, "Are you good?" And she said, "Yes, I'm good." It wasn't that convincing, but she said, "Yes, she's good." So that's all we can go by. We don't know anything else about Sirena except that Alicia Taylor did say that she's getting medical attention. And then, of course, I typed, "How many weeks until we hear about her?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Based on the Tatyanna thing, but I don't know. Well,
as stupid as it sounds, the match started, they had a great lockup where Bayley pushed her and she took a bump. It was a nice freaking bump, but did she hit her head on that bump? That could be possible because she went flying. Because I've been complaining episodes after episodes that when they do this spot with the bigger girls, they roll back instead of taking a big bump showing how strong the opponent is. She actually took a freaking great bump, but did her head went backwards, and from there she just went in autopilot. And when she got to the part of the press slam where she was up high, she started to be dizzy even more. And then when she completely lost it, could be it's possible. It happened to me where I hit my head so hard, it was on a sunset flip powerbomb in the corner. And I honestly don't remember anything in that match, but there was about 5 other minutes after this move in this match, and I went through it. but I don't remember anything. I finished the match.
That's
but
crazy. Jesus.
I went back. No, seriously, I went backstage and I was all confused. And then I kind of woke up and I looked at my wrist tape and it was all like kind of slimy and it had moved and I was like sweaty and I was like, what the fuck? And then one of my friends comes by. It's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah. I was like, when's the match? It's like, the match happened. I was like, I was so
that's
confused.
Scary though too, because wait a minute, you went another 5 minutes after you were concussed, and your opponent at no point, or the ref at no point, realized that you were out of it.
I was following. I just like, it's like my brain knew what the match was, and it just went through it. Like the whole thing, but I don't remember one single second from that match.
God damn.
And and after that, like there's a guy who had he had to do like a run-in on me, and he gave me a brainbuster on the chair. That probably made things worse, but I don't remember. I don't remember. And the fucking thing is, it's crazy because I went to the hospital and the next day I was in a tournament and I was winning and I had a match at night too. So I had 4 matches in a day. So they didn't want me to leave. So I signed the paper. It's like, I got shit to do. Which was, don't do this. It's like way before the fucking CTE and everything we know now.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely stupid to do that, but I did.
Sounds fucking terrifying.
That's why I'm telling you, it might have been on that strong lockup and that push. If her head went backward, I would have to go back and watch it carefully in slow motion, but that could be where it went wrong. And she just kept going with whatever she had. But then as soon as she went up there, oh boy, started to see star and could not like figure out where she was. And that's where she blacked out. Like that's from personal experience.
Yeah, no.
Maybe that's what happened. Yeah. She also wrestles in Nike shoes. I was like, what the fuck? Get some boots. No.
All right. Well, speaking of other things, our next match is P Nasty versus Zena. Panina did a promo. Zena, you're so stupid. Why would you pick me? You know, I'm the A class around here. You know, I'm the main event. You think you're so great. They did a pretty good job of reminding us that last year they faced each other in the semifinals, which was a match that was actually in Madison Square Garden at a, preliminary for, I guess, the NXT event. And yeah, I don't think it was Madison Square Garden proper. I think it was in one of the ancillary. That's not important. Anyway, that match was televised. And they remind us that P Nasty actually didn't do a very good job in that match, and Zena carried her through that match, and P Nasty acknowledged that. So now it's retribution time. As is the habit with this show, the judges or the coaches who have their clients or their mentees in the main event are up in the NXT sort of opera box mezzanine balcony to observe it. And Bubba has his head staring straight at Michelle McCool's headlights, which are prominently sticking out of her shirt. And Bubba, while staring right at her nipples, because I'm looking at his eyes, looking at her nipples, and then I'm looking at her nipples, while he is pretending that his mic isn't working and saying that he might have a wardrobe malfunction about a mic. Anyway, they get them seated down and they put Bubba behind a camera so that I guess he can see telescopically, 14 feet away what's going on. But I just thought that was hysterical. Anyway, Zena's like in her pre-match promo, let's run it back. My performance will do the talking. So we have a clear face and heel here. They're both big and strong. This is sort of my problem with Panina, is that she's big and strong, but she ain't that much bigger and stronger than some of them, including Zena. I mean, if I had to bet which one of them can lift more weights in certain weightlifting competitions, I'd probably go with Zena. As far as country strength, I'd probably go with Panina. Anyway, not important. It was a bruising match. Zena did some chop blocks. Bubba was so excited. He's like, I didn't teach her that. He's like, Zena, when she goes home, she studies and she watches wrestling. She loves wrestling and she learns how to do it and she does it well in the matches. And he's so pleased with her, which I'm glad about. But it's weird that he thinks she's the only one who does it. It's even weirder if in fact she is the only one who does all that stuff, because that's part of homework. At some point, P. Nasty pulls Zena up after getting the upper hand, sort of in the cocky heel way. I'm so dominant, which was weird because she wasn't so dominant after a 2 count. And then Zena basically hulks up, does some chops. They exchange blows. There was a nice slam by Zena and then a stomp, which turned out to be the finisher, which was a little bit weird, and got the 3 count. So Zena wins again. And I was left. I mean, I didn't think it was a bad match by any means. It's just, it was sort of an abrupt end. And I don't know. I didn't feel that it was as personal. And, Zena displayed a lot of emotion. Nasty is always herself, sort of the same sort of nasty, all serious, but I don't know. It works for Samoa Joe. It doesn't quite work for her. I don't know. Maybe it's just my thoughts. But Lou, what were your thoughts on this one?
Well, first for the 2 promos, like P. Nasty's really great at her promos. It looks real. It looks like it's coming from her. It doesn't look scripted. So I really liked her promo as always. Zena's promo was more of it didn't have any oomph to it. I was like, I wish she had more fire, even, when she's talking, because when she's in the ring, she has fire, but she just needs to bring that aspect in her promos. What color was wearing Zena?
It was like a reddish pink.
What color was wearing P. Nasty?
The same as always, red and black.
When your opponents wear red all the time, do not wear the same fucking colors. My God, I see it, all the time. It happens a lot at NXT. I've even seen it at WWE. It's like you have to think about there's a lot of people who will switch channel and they might stop and they might look at you. And it's like, oh, that girl was so good. Which one? The one in red. Make sure you're different from your opponent at all time. Especially in the indies, there's a lot of people who will show up that have never been to a wrestling show live and they will not know the name of the wrestlers. Make sure you stand out by what you're wearing. And if there's 2 girls in red, it doesn't help. So you gotta stand out by wearing another color. Always bring a few gears in your bag to make sure that whatever your opponent is, if your opponent's wearing black all the time, then wear anything else. That always really bothers me. I like the fact that, right from the start, they were showing equal strength. It was telling the story from season 1 that, they were in the finals and the strong. When Panina picked up the, Zena by her head on the cover, it just shows that she's the heel. She's overconfident. She thinks she has it in the bag. She wants to, she wants to give her more punishment. So it's not a thing about being in control. It's about being overconfident and showing people like, I got this. Like, you're the heel. You think everything is fine and you think you're right. And, you'll be the one, with the victory and whatever. So that works. That worked for me. It's just a heelish thing to do. So it was great for Panini to do it. Zena went into that comeback-ish, fighting back, but using slaps, and then she went from chops to, it was slaps, almost like a forearm. I was like, can she hit? I was like, she was fighting, it will sound stupid, but she was fighting very girly to me. And you have someone in front of you that's as big as you, even a little bit bigger, that's overconfident, that has a monster gimmick, and you're gonna just slap like a little girl? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
the
she works.
Slap is something that the Big Show can do. It's not something that Zena can really do.
Well, she's not doing them right. The Big Show was going from up to down, and she's like kind of in the middle with her elbow bent. And I was like, no, that looks like a little girl that's just like slapping someone like, shoo, move away. It's like, fuck.
If you're going to do the hand slaps, onto the chest, as sort of part of your finisher against your opponent, at least it should be against someone small like Danny Sigalski, whatever her name is.
So she bumps on the slaps. Yeah, it means something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think she works too fast. She was able to slam Panina, but she went so fast that I thought she was going to lose her, but that didn't happen because that could have been like an injury right there.
Hulk Hogan Andre story that nobody can slam Panina from. I mean, I don't remember if she's been slammed or not, but they've never made a big deal of her being unslammable.
Well, they should have worked that in the match. She tries once, she falls, Panita falls on top of her, and then at the end, when it's her comeback, yes, she lifts her up. Like, you gotta bring it. You gotta show that's what you're trying to do. You can't do it. You try to pick her up, but she stops you. She puts on the brake. Then when you pick her up, she falls on top of you. I don't know if you watch NXT. That's the thing they've worked between Lash Legends and, my God, I have.
Jax, do I watch NXT? Do not insult me in that way, woman. I will come out there and I will chest slap you as girly as Zena was doing.
Maybe you didn't watch live, but yeah, Lash Legend picked Nia Jax up, and then they went backwards because she couldn't pick up like Nia completely, but she did later in the match. That's how you work a slam on someone who has like a lot of weight to work with. And they did not do that. And then she went for that terrible stomp and she fell on her ass. Yes, my hole. She did the stomp and she could not even stay up. She fell on her ass and that was the finish. I was like, I don't know why Bubba is like going nuts about her. She has potential. She has a great smile. She's a great baby face, but there's a lot of work. And I agree with what Undertaker was saying and Michelle and Booker T. There's no improvement from the first things that I've watched from her till now.
Remember when we did one of the first shows, I asked you, was Bubba giving her too much too soon, too much fame, too much credentials too soon? I mean, it looks like that's been coming to roost, right?
Yeah. Because I mean, there's something to do with her, absolutely. But now,
she seems like she'd be great on Glow. She seems like a Glow wrestler. She
needs work. Let's put it this way. She's got the size and the smile and everything to be working for WWE. Eventually I could see her in Rhea Ripley, the blonde, Jack girl versus the black hair Jack girl, whatever. And there's ways to work with her, but right now everything is like on the same level. There's no high and low. And when I see her wrestle, I don't necessarily care about her much. She doesn't give me anything for me, to react the way I do with, I don't know, in Shiloh's match, she was such a heel that I would, I was cheering for Trill, and she, like I said, she has that fire, but it's pretty much one note.
It's frustrating because she needs a coach, and I feel like Bubba has become her friend and advocate and stopped being her coach.
She needs someone to tell you those slaps, they fucking suck. Learn how to punch, girl. And, lay them in, and you're big, and take your time to pick up people. And, you do a move, look at the crowd, work the crowd, get them into, invite them into your world. And
she needs you. She needs a Sherry Martel. She needs an Alundra Blaze Medusa. She needs somebody to say, this is how you do it. Forget about Bubba. He's obviously in love with you. I'm pretending he's not. Let's move off of that. Let me show you what to do, and then let Bubba take the credit for it. But she needs a you.
She needs somebody else. and don't get me wrong, Bubba's a great coach because he's like very straightforward, and that's what you need. When you suck, and you need to fix it. And it's hard, it's tough love, but in wrestling,
lost his true north with this one.
But this one,
he got infatuated early and forgot that she was a developmental project. And if he was just booking for Ring of Honor, old Ring of Honor, or like I said, Glow or Wow or Shimmer or the Indies, she's would be a terrific attraction. For WWE, she's like 7 to 8 out of 10 on everything. She's 10 out of 10 on looks, but she needs to get up to 8.5 and 9 on all of the other things.
I would get rid of that gear though. I'm not high on that terrible. Little dress. Yeah.
Mother made the gear, by the way, so that's the sentimental value with it.
It's very Tiffany Stratton at that point. Like, I see her gear and it feels like she wants to be a clone of Tiffany.
Well, could you blame her for trying to that path worked pretty well for Tiffany.
Oh, no, yeah. It's totally marketing, yeah.
Tiffany has more, like, her gear's more intricate.
Yeah.
She has beautiful gear.
Tiffany's geared is that they use physics and mathematical equations to make sure that it doesn't move in any directions.
See, you're also forgetting that, isn't it pretty much Bianca Belair that makes all of their gear now?
Oh, yeah. Well, she's great. Her gear's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And she makes
Very
sure
talented.
nothing's moving, nothing. Yeah, it's a miracle her boobs did not pop out. Like it's getting close sometimes, but you never see the tip of it. Like, was it Mercedes that we saw her pick her
I have a little insight into this that might not be what's happening with her, but I know someone who is in a similar kind of career place, sort of, who had similar kinds of boobs done. And they actually had the nipple implanted on a place where they'd be lower and pointing down so that you could have that extreme boobage and still be like inches away from a risk of a nip slip.
Yeah, but that must look weird, right?
Yes. I can tell you from firsthand experience, it looked weird and felt even weirder.
So wait a minute. You're saying that, that women get boob jobs that purposely misshape the direction of their areolas and nipples so that they can have more cleavage, just in general.
Yes.
Just wear 2 bras and have your nipple where it's supposed to be. God damn.
Hey, listen, that might be what Tiffany does.
You know what?
Medically, it's possible.
Carpet tape. Use carpet tape and fucking stick it on your. I'm telling you, that's the trick. You put it inside your bra when you wrestle. Carpet tape.
Yeah.
Great, and it works.
Well, what about pasties? I've seen them sell those even at like Walgreens. It's like a little flesh covered thing that women put on top of their nipple, and it just looks like you have a giant smoothie. And a smoothie.
They're also
Better than have your
little band-aids that you could put on.
Well, that's what she was saying with the carpet tape. But I was just thinking, like, because the thing I'm talking about is like it's made out of that vinyl or that rubber. So it looks like it moves like skin, but obviously if you touch it, it's not skin at all. You can definitely tell it's fake. But yeah, I've seen women wear those too, and I guess it prevents friction burn or anything else like that. But to actually undergo surgery to choose a different direction of your breasts just to enhance your t-shirt, like that's wild to me, man.
Hey, you got to remove that bra at one point.
Multi-millionaire? I mean, put it that way.
Yeah, true.
All of these things are reversible. Anyway, enough boob talk for now. I never thought I'd correct him.
We went from LFG to boob talk.
All right.
Hey.
So here we are at the judges table, and they're grading the men first. Bubba votes for Shiloh. He said that he really ring generaled it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, you could have voted for really any of the guys. I mean, I would have been surprised with a vote for Trill, but it's not like he was not meritorious of anything. Baker voted for Anthony Luke. Booker voted for his guy Harlem because he said that the Shiloh Harlem match was so close and so they were both so good that he has to pick his guy. I can respect that. And then Michelle McCool picks Anthony Luke also, which, we've alluded to, and which actually, going into some of the earlier conversations about we've had about programming and episodic television, I really feel like WWE has decided instead of focusing on the characters, they're going to focus on this possibly fake, possibly real conspiracy rift between the judges. And so I don't know who would have gotten my vote in this, but all 3 of the guys who got votes were vote worthy. I probably would have given it to Harlem Lewis just for that when he put his hand on the ropes in that perfect timing, it was so unexpected and so well done. But I didn't have an issue with the votes towards any of them, despite what I said about Anthony. I mean, getting a vote here, I probably wouldn't have voted for Anthony. I probably would have voted for either Shiloh or Harlem over him. But Lou, where would you have gone on the men?
Well, indeed, like Harlem did a great job. The way he sold the leg, the way he did his comeback with the fire, he was very intense, but always selling the leg. And like you said, the end of the match, like it was 1-2 just grab at the end, and the referee could not see it. Very well done. I thought Anthony Luke was great in that match too. He did a great job at leading the part of the match where he was working on the leg. He worked slow, methodical. We had time to see everything. Like, it really felt like a real wrestling match. Shiloh was a great heel, a great base for Trill. Like, he made everything work in that match, slowed down the pace, and was there for Trill, like high flying stuff. So all the guys did really good in this episode. So I get why Anthony got it, because like I said, I felt like he was very in his element. He was in control. He was working at a pace that we could see everything that he was doing. He was jaw-jacking. Like, he was pretty much like complete in everything where he needed to be. So that was, so I didn't, all the guys in this episode, like I said, like, they did really, really good. Trill was a great baby face. I feel like, I think I was, I was okay with Anthony Luke because of all the reasons that I said, that I really felt he was a ring general in there, and he kept the pace, and he worked the body part, and he stayed on it. Everything made sense. He told a story in that match. So for me, Anthony Luke was a great choice.
Okay. All right. So then we went on to the women. Undertaker voted for Panina. Michelle McCool voted for Panina, who of course is on Michelle's team. Booker T, who was the first one to point out that he thought that there was going to be a conspiracy between Undertaker and Michelle McCool, but later said, maybe so, not so much. He also voted for Panina. And then Bubba got up, did a speech, walked around, was gesticulating, and was very dramatic, and did a whole Shakespearean monologue, much like myself right now, and said he sees what's happening here, and there's clearly a conspiracy against her, pointing to Zena. She's the front runner. She's the best one here. She's the standard bearer, and nobody's voting about her. And this is the third time that Mr. and Mrs. Taker have voted the same way, looking at Booker like, where are you? Where's my backup? And Bubba walks away, and you hear Michelle go, really? And Undertaker goes, it's a good thing he walked away. And so that was our drama. So 2 questions for you. 1, a comment from me. Like I've said all along, I think Panina is fine. I just don't see that she's so far and away better than everyone else. I mean, in this particular week, I guess you'd sort of have to give it to her. But in other weeks, I'm not so sure. But question 1, you really think that this rift between the judges, or judge and 2 of the judges, as the case might be, is real? And what do you see in Panina, or what are they seeing in Panina that I'm not, that puts her heads and tails above everyone? Or do you also not put her heads and tails above all the other women?
Panina, she, like I said, when she's doing a promo, it sounds real. It comes from her heart. It doesn't sound scripted. When she's in the ring, she takes her time. She works the crowd. She looks at the crowd. She's able to set a pace to the match. Everything she does makes sense. So every match I see a little improvement from her. And honestly, she's the one that, they would tell me pick one to put on TV right now. I would pick her, because I think she's very close to being able to lead a match properly. Like, I wouldn't have her lead like a 25-minute match, but for 8 to 10, definitely. She knows her character. She knows what's the story behind the character. She presents herself as a beast that's overconfident, strong. So yeah, I mean, I get Panina. I would book her. Definitely. She's the one I would book. There's nothing much that's missing. A wrestler can always evolve and be better and change things. But as she is right now, with the months of experience she's in, or maybe a year now, she's doing great. And she keeps going this way, and, had a little thing here and there. I would definitely add more to the gear. Something for her entrance that makes her stand out. I'm thinking about, the big robes or jackets that they had in Japan, like Akira Okudo, or that Bull Nakano had, or something that's makes her even bigger than she is. And I would add something like that to her. Definitely, there's work to do. But
like the Dalton Castle cape that blouses out, just not peacock feathers, something scarier.
something scarier, but that's why.
Yeah,
I'm
like
thinking
shoulder
it's
pads or
Bruto.
something. Yeah, no, I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the background to Judgment Day, except actually physically on her.
Well, not wings like Bird Girl.
No, not wings like her. They're like wings like a dragon.
Like Muta. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, big, big and scary, and something that almost screamed like
Nina's gonna kill you.
You know what's crazy?
And queen of something. She's of a fucking kicking your ass or something, like whatever.
Do you think a woman
Queen Rapa Nui?
Do you think a woman could ever wear the Vader mask?
Why not?
I don't.
That's what I would do with Bayley.
Yeah.
Bayley, I would have her wear and be not like a fucking cheesy mask. Vader or Kane or Mankind, something like that stands out. There's no women out there with such a look. She has the build for it. I was like, why are they not doing something like that? She would be completely different. Like, I don't know why
she needs a mask, maybe a headdress and face makeup. I don't think she needs she looks I don't
know, Jeff.
They're trying to pretty her up right now with.
No, I'm talking about Tanita. Bayley, I'm the one who said all along she needs like an executioner's mask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Bozilla out in Japan, she puts on that mask now. She has like that face piece. It looks like Mad Max almost. Like the guy from Mad Mask with the gas mask on. And it really ramps up the terror. And she's a young talent herself. And I'm like, I just love the look, the added costume that some of these women wear.
Kruger,
right, because it's like,
kind of look.
Yeah.
I don't know, we've been subject to that the costumes in WWE are short skirt, shorter skirt, and shortest skirt. And it's like, right. I get it, like, attraction, sex sells, we know that. But fear sells too. And I think that, WWE for a long time didn't have a lot of fearsome looking women. When I go back, I'll think of people like, even more in recent times, like a Shayna Baszler, who never really succumbed to that I need to be pretty look, but always looked like a fucking psycho. And I loved her for it.
The fucking makeup they put her in, though, she looked like a fucking alien. And Ronda Rousey, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the Ronda stuff.
Why are you doing this to them?
Well, Ronda was weird because Ronda brought in her own hair and makeup team. So it wasn't even WWE's
fire
people.
Them. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, Ronda had her own people. Right.
You
all right.
What?
Well, yeah. We all agree that Bayley is going to definitely need to work on her look and her costuming. And, we all agree that something in the Mad Max veinish, something dystopian would work well for her, or something medieval, just not like the Viking Raiders, because that just doesn't work any longer. All right. So at the end of this week, Michelle McCool leads with 4 points. Taker and Booker tied with 3, and Bubba is in the rear with 2. So that's where we lead off. Next week, we saw, what we're going to get a little bit more of. Again, there was no discussion of Tatyanna. I didn't see Chris Island in there. I don't remember the last time I saw Chris Island. Mm-hmm. We're going to, I think that they're, going to try to turn up the heat a little bit. And at some point where we should be starting to get towards eliminations. And because of the content of my content today, I want everyone to know that this week's show was dedicated to our audience member, Boobs McGee, because clearly that's what I've been talking about a lot. And I see White Chocolate's there. So, hey, White Chocolate, hope you're feeling better. Thanks for joining us. I don't know, Lufisto, pimp your stuff.
Pimp my stuff, okay, but...
Or make comments on the, closing comments on the show. I shouldn't just... like that.
It ended with Bubba being pissed. Is it going to be the same thing as Booker T the first week where it's suddenly going to be okay next week's like, oh, I thought about it. I'm okay. It's like, fuck, I don't know where that's going to go, but he needs, for the sake of this girl, he needs to do something with Zena where, look at her with, I don't know, other, not like loving eyes, but like a coach eyes and fix a bunch of things. Because right now it's just like, he's like screaming at clouds right now. That's what I feel like. It's like, yeah, old man screaming at clouds. That's what I felt like. And I agree with the other judges. She's like, same place she was, like nothing. And so we'll see. We'll see next week. And well, that's for me now. So if you want to reach out, I'm always available. Discord, send me a message. On X, I'm at Lufisto. On Instagram, at the Lufisto Arts and Pro Wrestling. Facebook.com/Lufisto. I try to answer everybody. If it takes, please be patient. I will answer. If you have any comments for this show, please let us know. If you have any ideas for other shows, I'm down with that too. So, Jeff, anything you want to plug this week? Oh, and also check out Women's Wrestling Syndicate. We have a fucking awesome show on September 14 in my hometown of Sorel. It's going to be on our YouTube page as soon as possible. Once the show is done, all the shows are free at Women's Wrestling Syndicate in YouTube all together. I put like vintage matches there from other promotions that I was part of. So lots of content. So please subscribe, give us some likes, and give us some love. Yeah, Jeff, anything coming up like Evolve, Garden of Thought, anything?
Oh my God, there always is. And thank you for doing that. So we'll start with Evolve. First of all, if anyone is interested in co-hosting tonight, hit me up on the Discord, because it looks like tonight I'm going to be doing a solo show. I will try to do it as close to On the Heels as Wrestling Soup Andy as possible, to try to preserve as much as the audience and keep you kidnapped there while you stay. And then I will get depressed as, you know, the number quickly goes from 98 down to 4, but that's okay. These are the things I do to myself. But yeah, of the latest Evolve episode podcast did drop yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago on the Wrestling Soup and Friendos feed. So check that out and you'll be caught up. There's always Gardens of Thought. So yesterday I dropped an episode called Ice Crazy with immigration attorney Sherry Hoydra. For those who don't know, this is her second appearance on the show, and then we've already scheduled her comeback in 6 months, and we're probably going to keep going there until this situation stabilizes. So she's in the trenches, and her parents are Iranian immigrants under asylum. She was here when she was 4 years old, so she saw the American dream, and now sort of on the front lines fighting against what is turning into a bit of an American nightmare. It shows there is a Gospel of Thomas that will, whenever Mish puts it up on my feed, I will publish it probably this weekend or maybe early next week. Thomas is on vacation this week, meaning Mr. Thomas, my usual co-host. So I have got guest co-hosts, and my first guest co-host was the wonderful, the blessed, the super awesome Vinny Pacifico, and he booked his friend Zeke the Freak, or Zico Baby, or Ziggy Baby, and so that's a fun show. And Big Trouble Ben Bishop is going to be a guest co-host. Mackenzie's agreed to be a co-host, and Kiro Kwan, the current holder of the MLW middleweight championship, he stole it and he's holding it, and he's stealing Mystico's mask, has been trying to book people all week and seems to have trouble doing it. But Kiro Kwan will be the co-host on at least one show, and then eventually Thomas may come back, though he's going to Brazil, so who knows? Oh no, he's going to Colombia, so who knows? Garden of Thought, I also have a couple of archaeologist shows in the tank, and then with John Hoops and then Ed Barnard, 2 different shows, so you can look them up. They're all over the place. We're going to do Easter Island, and John Hoops has agreed to do and has done the very undaunting task of the origin of man. So we're basically taking it 7 million years to present. So that's all.
So I also subscribe to the Wrestling Soup, follow them on X, everything. Go on their YouTube page, subscribe to the Patreon of the Wrestling Soup for more awesome content from her friends. And I think that's it for episode 7 of LFG. So we'll be back next week for boil them, fry them, put them in a stew, the wrestling stew of LFG. What's going to happen? We don't know. Probably nothing that we saw this week. Hell yeah.
That's what I was waiting for. That was the line I was waiting for.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
I love you too.
Love you too, Uncle Myth.
Man.
Follow Wrestling Soup on Twitter at Wrestling Soup. Like and subscribe to Wrestling Soup on YouTube, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Wrestling Soup.